On tonight's show, we answer the question, what would it be like if the NRA made an anime? And we review your favorite Japanese sake from California. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the show that gets you drunker, the show that gets you fatter, and the show that gets you... Tonight we are talking about one of the new shows for 2021 that's come out, a show called Girls Frontline, or Dolls Frontline, depending on how you translate things. It appears they don't even know. Girls Frontline is a show that is about girls that are androids that are fighting against other girls that are androids. Now, why is that special at all? Well, each one of the girls on the good guys team is personified by some type of real-world firearm. Let's talk about the actual plot. Now, the plot is the world has been plunged into a World War III scenario. This is kind of in the aftermath of that. In the future, wars are fought by androids, and they are controlled by a commander who is human from a remote location. Now, this ties in quite nicely with the video game which this is based on. A Chinese video game from 2016. It was a mobile app game, which then later on became widely released throughout the United States. It has multiple versions, including a prequel that are out, so check it out. It actually does look like a pretty cool game. I did not play it, I'm not a mobile app game guy, but it looked pretty cool, and it is clear that this show is written for that audience. In fact, so much so that a lot of the plot points that kind of talk about the characters aren't quite clear until you understand that it is based on this mobile game. We're going to get a little bit more back into that in a few moments. The show really capitalizes. What it does right is it capitalizes on that strategy aspect of the mobile game and incorporates that into many parts of the plot. And you'll see it in different parts of their mission where they're strategizing using a map and everything. So in that aspect, I really do think that it pays homage. In fact, maybe does more than pay homage. It actually directly relates to the game. So people who are fans of the game should be happy with that, I suspect. If you are a fan of the game or if you've played the game, please comment below. I'd love to know what you thought of the game and if this show was an accurate representation of what you expected. Were you disappointed? Did you like it? Is the game trash? I don't know. Please comment below. Let me know. I'd love to hear more about it. Much like Nekopara, the characters in this game are personified by the namesake. So, for example, in the Nekopara, one of the girls' name was Nuts, and so she was kind of crazy. In this, they do that only with the different types of firearms. I'm going to be very careful with the way I say this, because YouTube's kind of bizarre in the way they don't like people talking about stuff like this. But in this case, I think I'm pretty safe. But so, for example, there's a very kind of cute small girl who is the MP5. And if you're familiar with the MP5, it's a small little submachine gun. So there's another girl who's kind of a cutesy, kind of wild girl, and she's the Scorpion, which is another kind of small CZ Scorpion submachine gun. The older sister type is the M16, which is funny because that's like an older version of that. So she's kind of like the grizzled older sister. So it's a lot of fun what they do with that. Essentially what they're doing here is personifying pew-pews, which is definitely going to trigger a certain subsection of people, and probably help this video get demonetized. Now, our main protagonists are all different versions, different evolutions of that classic Eugene Stoner M16 design. So there is M4A1, the SOP2, there's AR-15, and of course M16. If you are a fan of that platform, you'll kind of understand the subtle interpretations that they're doing there. But it relies quite heavily on perhaps your knowledge of that to get those jokes. And not necessarily jokes, but they're references to it. And so some of that's a little deep of a pull, but perhaps it's enough that people who aren't in the know may still get some enjoyment out of that. The game has loads of cool characters based on weapons throughout history, anything from the classic Mosin Nagant to the most recent stuff that's out there. So if you are a fan of kind of weapons technology, you'll find something within this game. Now I say the game specifically has all these loads of characters. Now we only get to see a small fraction of those characters in this show, which is a shame. I was hoping that this show would really zoom in on some of those fun, idiosyncratic parts of each of those weapons based on their region of origin. And that would have been a really fun thing to do. Get really stereotypical, get borderline offensive, and have fun with it. You already have a show that's about guns, that's already going to trigger a whole bunch of people. Go whole hog. Get in there, go full throttle, and have fun with it. I was hoping to have this drunken body Russian girl being AK-47 and maybe a loud kind of obnoxious redneck girl being like an American shotgun. I think that would have been really fun to do that. And they didn't. They went really serious with it. And so it's a decent show because of it, but I feel like they just kind of left something on the table that really could have been fun. And they still could have kept the action in this. This show has a lot of action. It's got a lot of cool, like I said, strategic military things that they're doing. There's some cool action, and most of it is very intense, good music. But I think it falls short and maybe even gets a little bit boring. I mean, I viewed it all the way up to episode 6, and it just seems to kind of get boring and a little repetitive with the same characters. And what I would have really liked to see is kind of a Monster of the Week type thing where they get to introduce slowly some of these newer characters, some of the more obscure characters. Maybe they use some of those characters on a mission that they need that specific thing, which is probably more like the game, honestly, where you pick the different weapons and factions based on what you're going to use them for in the mission. So I really think I had high hopes for this one. Now, again, I feel like they missed their mark a little bit by focusing on some of these more obscure weapons that the average person, let alone the enthusiast, may not have a casual knowledge of. And thus, because of that, I think they should have focused more on weapons that are more commonly seen in film. And they do use pistols, rifles, submachine gun. They focus. There's girls that represent all of these things, but they focus so heavily on those kind of M16 platform girls. And there's 4 of them, and they're all. I mean, it's all kind of the same gun basically. I really think they left a lot on the table. They could have had a lot of fun. The average person would have understood the kind of different references. Again, they do some of that, a little bit of that, but yeah, it really should have been more, in my opinion. They really could have had fun. Some of the character traits would have made probably a little bit more sense to the average person. So from what I've viewed so far, again, I'm about 6 episodes in. I usually give an anime 3 episodes. I thought I'd give this one a few more just to see if it really kicked in. I'll be honest, it didn't really kick in for me. It's okay, but I just felt it. I found it to be a little boring, and that's that. It's got some great action sequences, but it's just a little too repetitive, and they really could have spiced it up with the new characters coming in, some of which could have been silly. I did like it when characters like the MP5 character came on. She was fun and kind of spice things up, but overall I'm going to try to get through the whole series, but I don't know if I can recommend this one totally. It's just a little boring, and that's there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I think this is what you get when you build an anime based off a mobile game, and so I think they did the best they could, honestly. So give it a shot. It's available to view on Crunchyroll right now. I believe you can view the first few episodes for free, so you got nothing to lose. You might like it. If you turn out that you love it, comment below. Let me know what I missed out on. Maybe I should have stayed until episode 7. I don't know. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you hated every part of it, and maybe you're super triggered by it. I don't know. Let me know. I'm interested to know what other people thought. I'm a bit of an enthusiast myself, without saying too much, so I was really hoping for a little bit more out of this one. So that was Girls Frontline, or Dolls Frontline. Now I will say, the mobile game looks really fun. And there is a manga that I believe there's a few different mangas out that they put out. I think Katakawa put out. There's a soundtrack, and the figures, holy geez, the figures. Check these things out. If you are a firearms enthusiast and you happen to like anime, you are in luck. These figures are awesome. They are really cool. I want to recommend the figures more than I want to recommend the anime, but check those out. I'll leave a link down here. I think probably Big Bad Toy Store or one of the other ones have it, but check those out. I think it's going to be worth it. Now on to our alcohol for the evening, which is Shoshikubai. This is a sake that you've probably sampled at your local sushi restaurant, and thus kind of assumed because of the label that this was traditional Japanese sake, and it's very good. I've had gallons of this stuff myself. However, what you might be surprised to learn is that it's all made and grown in California. It's pretty interesting. Now, that doesn't change that it's quite good. This particular sake is best served hot, 100 degrees-ish, or room temperature, like I'm going to have it now. To do it hot properly, there's kind of a way to do it. Please don't ever boil it or anything like that. It's quite dangerous, but this is going to be good with most Japanese foods, frankly. Anything teriyaki or anything like that. But give this a go. I'll leave their website below. It was something I don't think a lot of people know, that their favorite sake, the one that they probably have every time they go to their favorite Japanese restaurant and really feel like they're having this super authentic Japanese experience, is from California. But that doesn't mean it's not delicious. Well, everyone, it's been a pleasure talking anime with you. We've got some big stuff coming up in May, so look forward to that. I've got a review of Shin Maimo Testament, Testament of Sister New Devil. That's coming up soon, so check that out. And I've got some new stuff coming around the corner. I really think you're going to like it. We might be doing some stuff with that old Porsche, who knows? It's been a pleasure talking with you guys. Kanpai.